Welcome back to week 3 of the cooking demonstration. In continuation with the pasta that we made, we're going to do another pasta dish. We're going to do a mushroom-filled tortellini with a carbonara sauce. The ingredients that you're going to need today are some chopped button mushrooms, some diced brown onion, garlic, butter, parsley, some bacon, parmesan, a couple of egg yolks, some white wine, a bit of grated parmesan, and some thickened cream. So let's get to it. Okay, first things first, what we need to do is we need to make our filling. So we're going to put almost all the butter into a hot pan. Let that melt down. The reason we're going to do this first is to cook all the ingredients and to cool it down, as we need to squeeze it out and get as much moisture out as possible. And that's better to do that cold than hot. Plus it's also better to fill the tortellinis with a cold mixture rather than a hot mixture. So now the butter's up to temperature. We're going to add half the onions, half of the garlic. Sweat that down a little bit. And then we're going to add the chopped mushrooms. As you can see, the mushrooms will absorb a lot of the moisture, a lot of the butter that's in the pan, but they also contain a lot of moisture. So we're trying to cook it out and get as much of that moisture out as possible. Not forgetting to season. As you can see from the pan now, the amount of moisture that's actually in the mushrooms. That's what we want to try and get rid of. So we'll just cook this out. And then what we're going to do, we're going to cool it down in the fridge. That may take about 15 minutes. And then we're going to squeeze all the excess liquid or moisture out of it. So when we fill our tortellinis, they're not running all over the place. Make sure they're thoroughly cooked. And what we're going to do, we'll transfer these to a bowl. And sit those in the fridge for probably 15 to 20 minutes and then let it cool down. So come back in a while and we'll start to fill the tortellinis. Welcome back. Hopefully your mushroom mix is cool now. So what we're going to do, if we're using here a filter bag, if you've got muslin at home, that would probably be a good idea as well. So what we're going to do first of all, just to try and get all the excess moisture, is pour this into here. Don't get rid of the bowl because we're going to put the mixture back in there after this. So, as you will be able to see when we give it a squeeze, how much moisture actually comes out of here. And this will make your pasta dough very hard to work with. The chances of it breaking are greater than if you use a drier mix. Right, there we go. So we'll transfer this back into here. Then what you're going to need is a pastry cutting ring. Now what we're going to try and do is get these as close together as we can. That way we get more tortellinis out of each strip of pasta. There's one. Just flour this. And we'll do the same with this one. Okay, so once you've got your little discs of pasta ready, we can start filling. So what you'll need is just a little pot of water. And then what we're going to do, we're just going to spoon a little bit into the middle. Of each of these pasta discs. Okay, so once the filling's in, I'm just going to use some water, slightly dampen half of the pasta disc, then we're going to pick it up. And what we want to try and do is create a seal, and you'll be able to feel the filling inside of it. So you should end up with a half sphere like that. So we just put a little bit of water on one end, using these 3 fingers, fold it round, and then bring those 2 together. And there you have it, little tortellinis. Okay, so we've done our tortellinis, so now we're going to make our carbonara sauce. So we put the rest of the butter in a pan. The rest of our onions. Our garlic. And our bacon. So we're just going to sweat this down. We'll add our white wine. And we're just going to reduce that down a little bit. While that's reducing down, just some cracked black pepper. A pinch of salt. The more you reduce the wine, in fact the more you reduce anything in a pan, the more intense the flavour becomes. So we're just going to take that a little bit further. As you can see, a lot of it's already reduced down. Then we're going to add the cream. Bring this to the boil. Just let that simmer away for a minute or two. Okay, and I'm going to add the grated Parmesan. The parsley. And then we're going to add the egg yolks last. This will thicken the sauce up and also add a richness to it. Turn that down onto a low heat now. Okay, when you've mixed that all in, you should have a nice, thick, rich carbonara sauce. So while that's ticking over, we're just going to pull it to one side so it's over half the heat. We'll cook our pasta, same as the tagliatelle that we did, just in the pan of salted water. So the pasta, the tortellini should take about 3 minutes, 4 minutes. Okay, so when the pasta is just ready to come out the pan, we're going to put the sauce back on the stove, and then using the spider, we'll grab out the tortellinis. Make sure they're drained well, and then they go straight into the pan. And all we're going to do is bring these to the boil. Be gentle with them. So all we're going to do is just basically put some of the sauce over the top of them. We're not going to mix it through or anything because they're very fragile. Okay, so plating up time. Okay, so same as the other pasta dish we do, it's always a good garnish. Using some wild rocket and some freshly shaved grana padano or parmesan. A little bit of olive oil just to bind it together. Let's get that tossed now. And then we're ready to plate. Once all your pasta's in the bowl, then you can add however much sauce is required to your personal tastes. And the garnish goes on. Like I did with the last pasta dish, a little bit of balsamic over the top. And there we have stuffed mushroom tortellini with a carbonara sauce.